Hey guys, Nick and Danny here at Movement Art Jiu-Jitsu, and we're bringing to you guys the Fuel Hunt Technique series, and in this series we're going to explore the arm saddle position. So it's important that we're organizing our games to where we have options to attack the lower body and options to attack the upper body. So make sure you go back to our previous series involving guard retention and the De La Hiva, because this will be another piece into your game so that you have an idea of how to keep yourself safe against the passes, but also have options to attack their lower body or upper body based on what they're giving you. So let's kind of jump right into it. So the first option we're going to look at is the basic arm saddle entry, where my opponent is trying to flank my guard, and exactly, they're looking to pin my leg. Sometimes they'll be on this ankle, and if that's the case, just make sure you're pummeling this foot to the shoulder first. So if they're on this ankle, we're just making sure we have our frames up and that we're pummeling that foot to the shoulder. The other thing is, in order for the arm saddle to be effective, I really want to make sure I'm closing my pass box so that I'm removing weight off of my leg. If I allow them to pin my leg, it could be a little bit more difficult. So make sure you're in the habit of wedging your own knee on top of your arm, which renders this arm light, which is going to make it easier for me to enter my arm saddle position. So now once we're here, they're trying to pin my leg, there's weight into this limb. That's the very reason why the arm saddle is going to be effective in this case. And the other thing being that he's leading with his upper body. So I don't want to be reaching for the legs when I have a nice available limb right in front of me in the form of this arm. So first thing I'm going to look to do is I'm going to connect to the tricep right near the shoulder. And as I connect to this tricep, I'm going to loop my arm in and I'm going to look to cup right above the elbow. And these grips together are going to allow me to start to bend this arm as I raise my elbow so I can put a kink in this arm like so. At this point, I'm going to look to plant my frame either on the back leg or I can look to plant on the near hip, whichever is available to me at that moment. And now I'm going to start looking to kink this arm, and then once I have a good kink, I can look to fix in a nice gable grip where I'm wrist to wrist and pulling that elbow to my stomach. Now, again, we want to make sure that their head is down in this kind of formation. So if you feel like your opponent drops to their knees in an effort to raise their head up, we have to be ready to loop our leg over the top, pinching our knee on top of the back, and hip escaping to keep their posture broken the whole time. It's going to be really difficult to attack an arm saddle on someone who's not only raising their head, but ripping their arm out as they raise their head. So one way to prevent the rip out is by keeping their posture broken. And I do it with this top leg, pinching over. Now from here, I'm a big fan of intercepting the thumb as we loop this leg over and into that space. All right, once I have my leg into this space, this is what we call the arm saddle position, because it does function as a system of its own. We have opportunities to break the arm itself. We have opportunities to attack the back, as well as triangles and a plethora of other submissions. So once we enter this position here, we're in the arm saddle, and the first thing we're going to look at is just the mechanics to break the arm from this position. All right? And again, there's so many different ways we can configure our legs. We can figure four our legs. Let's rotate this way. I can look to figure four my legs and bite down on the back armpit. I can also look to feed my foot and lace it over the top of the back leg in this formation, almost like a half guard. This does a good job of preventing the forward roll, so it keeps the weight in their legs and prevents them from being able to jump their hips over. And there's a bunch of different configurations, but these are some of the most basic ones. Let's rotate once again. So I'm here in my arm saddle position. When I'm ready to break the arm, I'm going to look to commit two hands to this hand here, and I want to make sure that I'm not breaking this arm like a conventional arm bar, where I'm having this thumb kind of pointed in the direction of my chest. I'm actually going to look to turn this thumb down so I can use a better fulcrum in my top leg. This way I'm going to be able to open up my elbows, having better control of this arm here, and I'm going to be able to use and implement this pull and push grip here. So I'm pulling with this arm, my top arm, and I'm going to be pushing with this arm that's wedging this arm in place. And now, with the elbow being pushed against my upper thigh, I'm going to be able to break this arm by not only pushing this hand towards the ceiling, but I'm also pinching my knees and making sure that I'm biting down my knee on top of their elbow. So there's two forces at play. There's the arm moving up towards the ceiling, and there's my knee moving down onto the elbow. And together, that's what gives us our break. So again, we're in this situation here. I'm doing guard retention. I pummel my frame to the back shoulder. I'm keeping my pass box closed, and they're insistent on putting weight on my leg in an effort to pin it. So I go tricep, I loop my arm underneath, I grab right above the elbow. I'm gonna start looking to open up my elbow, and from here I frame, and I look to lock my gable grip as I throw this leg over. If I feel like the head's coming up, feel free to stop that posturing motion with your top leg as you buy yourself time to throw your leg in and intercept that thumb from latching onto the leg. All right, so the more coordinated you are in this position, the higher chance you have of finishing the armbar from here, because you're not slow to intercept this thumb, giving them a chance to latch onto their leg. So I'm quick to intercept that thumb. I can go to my push-pull grip, opening up my elbows. So see how I'm chest escaping, planting my elbow on the floor, but I'm not going flat. A lot of people will do this, putting their back to the floor, and that's just gonna loosen up the position. So as I open up my elbows, I make sure that I stay on my side, and that's gonna allow me now to push this arm up as I also pull, closing my knee on top, pinching my knees together, all right? So we're here, about 1, 2, 3, all right? And from here, just double up on the wrist, pinch your knees together, and if they decide to roll, notice how I'm gonna follow with my knees, and I like to plant a hook behind the head, and I like to step on my own foot here. And then we're just gonna flip the thumb the other way, so I can use now this leg as my fulcrum, push, pull, and break the arm. So guys, this is the basic entry into the arm saddle. We're gonna look at a bunch of different entries into the same position, but make sure you're drilling this one, you're getting used to the formation, you're getting used to the braking mechanics before you explore those other options. But make sure you click down on that video that's next so that you can expand your arm saddle options.
Also, check out the De La Riva series that we have on here as well, in case your opponent leads with the lower body, and be sure to check out the guard retention course that we have on here as well, so that you can stay safe in case something goes south. See you in the next video.